What's up, folks? This is Double D from I Think Sports Podcast, and today we have another one recorded for you. I told you it's not going to take too long for you to wait before we come back, and we're coming back for a UFC 250 preview, and also we will discuss some things about MMA world because that's the only world that's really doing something right now, producing in news, content, and entertainment. So, yeah, stick for a while. It's not going to be too long of a podcast, less than an hour, where we discuss about the UFC and other UFC news and topics related to John Jones and some upcoming fights. So, yeah, it should be a good one. Relax and enjoy. But before all that, just a little music intro. So we are recording this on June 3rd in beautiful Vilnius, Lithuania, and we're going to preview UFC 250, another amazing event taking place this upcoming weekend. And I couldn't be more excited. I mean, the main event, not exactly the bonkers one. It is a title fight. It is actually a champion that's been very dominant and arguably more dominant champions that we have ever seen. Definitely right up there. But yeah, it's a women fight. I mean, Amanda Nunes fighting Felicia Spencer. Sometimes these cards just don't get a lot of traction, and this is pay per view, by the way. UFC 250. It's 250th pay per view. I guess. I guess you can call it that. I think those numbers do not add up necessarily, but anyway, whenever you see UFC written with some number next to it, it's a pay per view. So, yeah, for the pay per view, maybe not the craziest. I don't think UFC is going to make a lot of money out of it, even though they are the only show in the town. However, if you're looking for some quality fights, this fight card is for you. It should definitely deliver on some quality. So let's go from the bottom to the top. And uh, okay, really quick. I mean, the preliminary fights: Alex Perez fighting Juicy Formiga. That's in early prelims. Pretty good fight. In the preliminary fight card, Alex Caceres is still doing the goddamn thing, facing Chase Hooper. Ian Heinisch fighting Gerald Myerskart. That's a pretty cool one too. But yeah, nothing too crazy. I mean, definitely not to UFC 249. I mean, that was stacked from the bottom to the top. This one, it's more top heavy, but again, that's a good thing. At least we just don't have just the main event. We have a lot of other fights to look into, and I guess that makes sense since the main event is not exactly make your body rock. So starting from the bottom of the main card, we have Eddie Wineland fighting Sean O'Malley. Man, I had no idea Eddie Wineland is still fighting. I mean, and this guy is only 35 years old. Uh, haven't heard of him, haven't seen him in a while, but he's an exciting fighter, at least used to be. His last fight was a win against, oh man, Grigory Popov. That was a year ago, June 8th, 2019. So, yeah, knocked him out in the second round, but ever since, never heard of Eddie before, and before after that, I'm sorry, and before that, he was losing, lost a decision against Alejandro Perez, lost the decision against Dotson, then a few knockouts against Takeya Mitsugaki and Frankie Sainz. Man, this guy, when he loses a decision, but when he wins, he knocks people out. That's that's been known fact of Eddie's career. That's why he's so exciting and fun to watch. Last time he lost by TKO was Johnny Eduardo, knocked him out in the first round. So yeah, that's been a while. I mean, 6 years ago. I don't know. For some reason, Eddie's not fighting that much. I know he's a firefighter, so I guess he's just in between things. Just a guy who really likes to fight, and he is an exciting fighter. But this is a show for Sean O'Malley. Sean O'Malley is apparently the future of UFC. That kid is exciting. He's a star already. He's known for his personality in and outside of the cage. he's also very, he can back it up with his fighting. I mean, okay, he's got some decisions, but he's known for all the abilities. He can knock you out. He can submit you. Uh, Only purple belt in Brazilian Jiu Jitsu. How about that? But he is a savvy grappler as well. Obviously known for his wild kicks and punches. He's got a lot of spinning techniques and stuff like that. So he's crazy. He's crazy, but very exciting. His welcome party to UFC, like the big leagues of the UFC. I'm not talking about the Ultimate Fighter or where he was. Wasn't he in Contender Series or something? So anyway, he's been introduced quite slowly, winning just a few decisions. But his latest fight against Jose Alberto Quinones, I mean, that was a heck of a knockout right in the first round. So yeah, after that, O'Malley just faced some issues, with weed, as he always does. Actually, before that, he was facing some issues too. So yeah, he hasn't been consistently in front of our eyes, but his latest performance was unbelievable. That was performance of the night, actually. And now he's facing a savvy veteran in Eddie Wineland, who's just as wild as Sean is. This will be fireworks. I don't know what's going to happen. Eddie packs a punch. Sean is obviously dangerous in all sorts of other ways. It seems like Sean is going to catch him. I mean, I don't want to make any predictions. Everyone's obviously rooting for Sean to be the future and savior of the UFC, especially in the lighter divisions. Uh, Maybe that's going to happen, but Eddie can definitely ruin the party real fast because he's very, very powerful. There's a reason why all his wins are just, TKOs left and right. So, heck of a fight. Very, very interesting fight. Dangerous for Sean. But, if you take care of somebody like Eddie, and again, there is a huge potential of a finish. If you finish Eddie Wineland, wow. Well, that's a huge feather in your cap, and now you're definitely off to the races in the rankings. Both guys are unranked right now, so they got nothing to lose, especially Eddie. He's been there, he's done that. I don't remember if he won any championships, but back in the WEC days, he was definitely a relevant name, and definitely fought for the title. He was the guy who got finished by Henan Barao. I mean, that was Barao's kind of coming out party when he was finally accepted by everyone as one of the greatest that we have seen. And after that, I mean, TJ knocks him out. But yeah, Eddie did fight great fighters, nothing but great fighters back in the WEC days, and in the UFC, he hasn't been very much in this game. Fighting once a year won't necessarily get you that notoriety that you need, especially if you cannot win all the time. So I'm not sure what's the situation with him. Maybe he's just fighting fires. Maybe he's been injured. I'm not really sure, but I know that this is a heck of a fight, and there's no better way to open up a main card. I am betting on Sean though. Next fight, Neil Magny, Anthony Rocco Martin. Yeah, this will be tough for Neil. Neil has been known to take tough fights, and he's been losing tough fights. Santiago Ponzinibbio, most notably, just knocked the shit out of him. Rafael dos Anjos really went through him real nice in the first round as well. The same happened with Lorenz Larkin, but he's also fought guys like Hector Lombard and Kelvin Gastelum and Johnny Hendricks, Carlos Condit. This guy fights everybody. He's not afraid of anybody. He fought recently Li Jiangliang and just outpointed him, but just outclassed him. It was a unanimous decision. Jian Liang had no chance against Neil, and Neil is just one of those guys who just gets better and better after round. So, yeah, he's fighting this. I guess you can call him an up and comer, 30 years old up and comer. But yeah, Martin has been waiting for some shots, and again, fighting respectable names: Ryan Ruffler, Jake Matthews, Sergio Moraes, Damian Maya. but wasn't really knocking your hair back. I mean, he knocked out Flair. That was huge. That's where he put his name, put a stamp on his name. I guess you can say that. But he obviously lost to Damian Maya, and his latest win was against Ramazan Emioff. I mean, I don't know of this guy, so this is a bit of a downer. Both guys unranked again, so Neil's just been in this game for so long. I don't see what Martin can offer for him, and he's been fighting dangerous guys. He's been fighting wrestlers, knockout artists, submission artists. He's been doing great against him too. So I don't see. I see just a good, exciting, long fight, but I don't see any finishes coming out of this one. We'll see if that's going to be the case, but I'm betting on Neil. I don't know. To me, Rocco, he hasn't proved himself just yet. Maybe this will be this time. Who knows? So yeah, not a bad fight. But then one of the most interesting fights: Aljamain Sterling against Corey Sandhagen. Title contention on a line with these two. I'm gonna talk about later a bit what's happening with the title. But these guys, in order to put themselves, to be next in line, this is the fight. Aljamain has been around for a while. He had that heck of a hiccup against Moraes. I mean, Moraes knocked him the fuck out. In the first minute of the first round, he landed the beautiful knee. Right when Aljamain was shooting for a takedown, I think, and the force of Aljamain shooting, and obviously Moraes can throw some goddamn kicks, and this time it was a knee just caught perfectly to the chin, and Aljamain was dead cold. So yeah, after that, still put up a nice winning streak, 4 fights, submit Cody Stamen, and tough unanimous decisions against Jimmy Rivera and Pedro Munoz. I mean, those guys are no slouches. They were also known as an up and comers, and he's the most up and comer of them all. And that's the reason why he's ranked number 2. He's got a legit point of fighting for a title already. But since there are some better cases like Piotr Jan, for example, Aljamain has to stick around for a bit, and he's fighting a perfect dance partner, Corey Sandhagen. Oh boy, this guy throws some heat and also very versatile. I mean, all these guys at the lighter weight classes, they're all very versatile. But yeah, Sandhagen, he's been doing great. Again, just not being that consistent, at least in UFC. His first fight is Austin Arnett. I'm not sure of that guy, but he knocked out Yuri Alcantara. That was big. Then submitted Mario Bautista, and his latest shows against John Lineker and Rafael Sansao, both wins. Decisions against Lineker, that was a split decision, but still he won, and that's huge. That's huge. Corey Sandhagen is a force to be reckoned with, and Aljamain has tall task at his hands, but I think Aljamain is the favorite, not just because he's ranked higher, but he fought some killers too. I mean, I don't know. I'm a fan of Aljamain Sterling, so I'm picking him to win in this fight. But yeah, this is going to be tough. It's a very interesting fight. The most interesting fight in this fight card, I would say. Although the next one, the co-main event, that's pretty fun too. Man, Rafael Sansao back in the game against Cody Garbrandt. Well, Garbrandt, I don't know what happened with the guy. Something happened with TJ. TJ bummed the shit out of him, and then we start seeing some flaws. I mean, when he beat Dominic Cruz, that was such an epic and flawless, perfect performance. It seemed like nothing can get to his head. It seemed like he's faster than everybody. He's just stronger and everything. He seemed untouchable almost, and then he fights TJ. He hurts TJ, but the fact that he was so pissed at him and so emotional coming into that fight caused him to go really reckless in that fight. And I guess that's in combination that he hurt TJ. TJ was on Queer Street in the first fight. But then TJ catches him, knocks him out. I wouldn't call it a fluke. Especially I was rooting for TJ. But TJ was in deep, deep trouble, and just somehow out of nowhere, he found a Hail Mary, and caught Cody with it. So after that fight, they have a rematch, and Cody's just beside himself. Now he's going in berserker mode, even more so than before. And again, the same thing happens. He just gets caught. But they were both slinging, throwing from the hip. And Cody's, he's got more power, he's got more speed, so it seems like he's got the advantage. But if you miss, what's good the advantage? I mean, if you get caught just when you get caught so much off balance, just by any punch or a kick, I mean, you're done for. And yeah, that's what happened to him in the second fight. And it seems like that was it. That after that first fight, he's got thrown out of the rhythm. In a second fight, he loses again. And then again against Pedro Munoz, he does the same thing. He's so technical. Again, he's got all the advantages in the world against pretty much all these bantamweights in terms of speed and power and his experience in boxing. I mean, this guy is a great wrestler. Let's not forget that. So he can keep it standing all day long, and he can just box your face off. And with the power that he's throwing, it's not going to be long. There's not going to be a lot of boxing of the faces. There's going to be some knockouts, but he cannot control himself. Once he gets just touched a little bit or pissed off about, I think Munoz's fight was a bit boring, if I'm not mistaken. I might be mistaken because this is fight of the night, but I think something happened where there was a little action because the end came out in the first round, but it was at the very end of the first round. So I think, the first minute was a little bit of feeling out process. And I remember Cody being just so technical, ahead of Pedro's intent everywhere, meeting him to the punch, and beating him to the punch, actually. So he seemed so good. And then something happened. I think he got caught, and then he went again, throwing from the hip, going rock'em sock'em style. And, Pedro fucking caught him. For some reason, when Cody's, there's still fighters who are wild, but they're still accurate. Cody's not that accurate when he gets, crazy. And he was missing Pedro's scoring, and in the end, Cody barely survived. It seems, he's surviving the round, and then, until he couldn't take any more punches. Crazy, crazy, crazy guy. All the potential in the world, and now he's fighting the assassin in Rafael Sansao. Sansao has everything. He's got lethal kicks. He's got powerful punches. The guy is built. He's definitely built, and he's got amazing submission game. He's got it all. He has everything, and he had a lot of wins. At one point, he went like 8 fight winning streak or something. So he was, at the top of the heap. But yeah, he faced some problems. He faced some problems against DJ. And he jumped right back on the train after that. Actually beat Marlon Moraes. That was a split decision, which I think Moraes actually should have won. So, he goes on the winning streak, and then he faces Moraes again. Moraes chokes him out, and then he lost to Corey Sanhagen. So he's in a bit of a skid. He's 35 years old. I'm sorry, 37. Wow, I thought he's 35. These small guys, I mean, there's no longevity there. By the time you hit 30, and especially 35, you're pretty much gone. All your biggest benefits are not there anymore, and there's a ton of killers that will gladly take your head off. Using all the benefits, including the youth and speed, quickness, and durability. So Sansao, before he's wasn't even getting finished. And the fact that Moraes, submitted him, that was crazy. So I don't know. Sansao is still great. He's very technical. He's facing a killer in Cody. I know one thing. Sansao, you can bet on him that he's going to keep his shit together. He will maintain cool. He will maintain technical. And I don't think that Cody will be able to get him into the wild fight. And Cody really doesn't need that. So the question is, can Cody impose his will after losing 3 in a row, badly getting knocked out? And I don't know. I wonder what kind of a Cody we'll see. Will we see even more pissed off Cody, which is bad news then? Or who knows? Maybe he's just going to starch a Sun Cell. I really don't know what's going to happen in this fight. That's again very fun, close fight, just like with Sean O'Malley and Eddie Wineland, and just like with Aljamain Sterling and Corey Sanhagen. These are close fights, very very interesting fights. Even Neil Magny and Rocco Martin. I don't know what's going to happen there. So it's a great fight card in that sense, and it's definitely going to be action packed. Guys like O'Malley and Garbrandt, they bring heat. And Sterling and Sanhagen, I mean, they're just interesting fighters. So I don't think that's going to be a boring one either. So it's yeah, it's shaping up to be a pretty fun event, entertaining event for all the fans. Whether it's casual, whether it's hardcores. I think this should be a pleaser for everyone. Okay, so with that, we're going to the main event. Oh, Amanda Nunes, only the greatest woman that's ever walked this face of the earth. I mean, just the greatest fighter we have ever seen. Whether it's MMA, whether it's boxing, I think she's the greatest of them all. The chicks that she's fought and she's beat, and the way she's beaten them. Yeah, I think it's no contest. I mean, Nunes is absolutely the queen of women's fighting, and I'm so glad that she's not retired just yet. She's been flirting with that idea for quite some time. Um, yeah, I'm glad that she's sticking out, but who knows? After this fight, if she wins, she might say something. She might say something that she's done. So yeah, hopefully that doesn't happen. Ever since she beat Misha Tate and took a belt from her, she defended it 6 times. That's a lot. That's a lot in any division, and especially in a bantamweight division. Again, these smaller divisions, you have to have your bases covered. I mean, it's the most technical, place to be. Bantamweight, welterweight, down from welterweight, or maybe from lightweight. Let's put it that way. You have to have everything top notch, and that's also the case even with women, especially nowadays. The level of women's MMA has been rising consistently for past several years. Maybe it stopped this year. I don't remember now who's been the most technical up and comer. Excuse me. But for the longest time, I mean, there were some technical battles, and actually Amanda was part of that. The biggest test, obviously, was and still is. I would love to see that fight again at some point. Valentina Shevchenko. She's the queen now in 125 flyweight division, women's flyweight division. She's ruling the world out there. So it's going to be tough. I don't care who you are at those lighter weight classes. It's tough for anybody to stay champion consistently for a longer time. I mean, before that, Misha Tate only held it for once. She actually took a belt from Holly Holm and then lost it to Amanda. And before that, Holly Holm had the belt. She took it from Miranda and lost it to Misha. So even Ronda, let me just take a look real quick. How many title defenses did Ronda have? Uh, okay, so that's one, two, three, four, five, six. There you go. 6 title defenses until she faced Holly, and man, Holly kicked the shit out of her face. So yeah, there you go. I mean, it's tough. It's very, very tough, even out there. And Amanda's just been so good and dominant. It's hasn't been that close. Besides a few occasions, again, very technical Valentina, who has no holes in her game, and very technical striker in Jermaine, who's also got some obvious gifts. I mean, she's very tall. She's obviously very strong, and she's a Muay Thai fighter from Holland. I mean, she's a force to be reckoned with, and it wasn't that easy for Amanda to control her and just to do whatever she wanted, even when she was on the ground on top of Jermaine. Jermaine's size was still a factor, and standing up, I mean, that was very scary for Amanda. Even as good as she is, knocking people out left and right, this was tough for her to stand up with Jermaine So she had to adjust, which she did, and she won. I think she won every round, as far as I can remember. Maybe not every round, but yeah, it's Amanda's world right now, and it's not easy to be on the top for so long. And now she's facing Felicia Spencer. Problem is with this fight, it's just Amanda's opponent is not the greatest. I mean, yeah, I don't know what much to say. I mean, Felicia, she's a great submission artist, but good luck taking Amanda down. Amanda also doesn't seem to have any cardio issues anymore. And Felicia has been known for her durability. You know, she's the chick who survived Chris Cyborg. Survived in the sense that she wasn't finished, but she did lose a unanimous decision against Chris. But you know, Amanda beat Cyborg, beat her pretty convincingly in the first round. Was it fluky? Well, maybe. You know, you can make a case for that, but still, you know, Amanda is strong, powerful, fast, and very technical striker. And on the floor, she's a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt. So I don't know what Felicia can do here to Amanda. You know, it seems like whenever we say that, some miracles happen. But to me, yeah, Felicia, she's just not, you know, if she was gifted somehow, like Holly Holm facing Ronda, at least Holly had a great work ethic. She had a very athletic body. She was very, you know, powerful with her kicks and, you know, with her boxing. She was very light on her feet. You know, one of the more technical people that Ronda faced. And so at least she had that, you know, that started to give her some momentum, and then boom, you know, everything happened the way it happened. With Felicia, I don't see what she can impose, you know, how she's going to impose her will, her game plan against Amanda. Amanda is more technical, obviously. Amanda is more talented. Amanda is more gifted athletically. It's going to be a tough night for Felicia. I don't know exactly what's going to happen, but you know, a head kick knockout, second, first round, maybe that is very possible. You know, Amanda is very very dangerous on standing up out there. Maybe she wrestled more and tried to submit to Jermaine, but you know that's the thing. She can do it all against whoever she's facing. You know, she can do one thing against one opponent, then switch it up completely against the other, and that is exactly what we're going to see after a striker in Jermaine. Now she's facing a grappler in Felicia, and it's yeah for grapplers. What's tough that standing up, you know, you still got to do some work to take it to the floor. Take you know bring your opponent down to the floor before you can dominate them. And who's to say that she's going to even do that? You know, who's to say that she's going to dominate if she gets Amanda down somehow? So, yeah, Felicia's going to have to make it dirty. You know, remember something, what she learned from that cyborg fight, which I think she learned more than Amanda did, maybe. For Amanda, that was just a confidence boost that, oh my God, she did this. So, yeah, maybe if she's making it dirty, maybe she's, you know, able to tire Amanda somehow, although it's not a flaw anymore in her game. Ever since that Valentina fight, she doesn't seem to be gassing. So, so yeah, I don't know. You know, it's still a chance for anyone to see the greatest woman fighter ever, boxing or MMA or karate or whatever. So, you know, at least there's that. And if we get a beautiful, nice, you know, finish that's supposed to happen, you know, once you're the champion, so that'll be just a great cherry on top, you know. But card itself is worth watching. Main event, you know, let's just hope that it's going to be that way, just the cherry on the top. Or who knows, maybe if Felicia makes it, you know, interesting, then it's even better. So yeah, let's just hope for that. But yeah, I think that this could be a quick work by the champ. Still the greatest. Still. So yeah, there you go. That's the UFC 250. Nothing too crazy, but not bad at all. I mean, definitely worth watching, worth paying money, even though it is pay per view, which is a little bit crazy. But yeah, what else are you gonna do? You know, the sports world is shut, and UFC are the only ones that keep this train rolling. So you know, it's definitely worth time and money to spend to watch some quality fights. Which again, UFC 250 is offering exactly that. So yeah, enough of me preaching this. Let's actually take a look at some news. So yeah, the biggest thing is still obviously John Jones talking about vacating his belt. The reason I did not address this too much, I did not spend much time on it the last time we saw each other, is that I don't buy this. And now several days passed, and we still have no clarity what exactly is happening. All we know is, that Dana and John, they have some issues, which is what else is new there, right? Ever since, was it UFC 151? Wow, already 100 UFC pay per views have passed. But I think it was 151, which was canceled. And it was canceled because John decided not to take a short notice fight defending the belt against Chael Sonnen. So, ever since then, Dana was shitting on him all over the place. And obviously, then he's got into some troubles. So Dana is shitting on him there. But, you know, no matter what the guy has done, he's still the greatest martial artist of all time. I mean, he's perfect. He's never lost. He has that official loss against Matt Hamill, but for the ones who think that John lost that fight, watch that fight. If you're able to do that somehow, some way, watch that fight. I mean, Matt Hamill was completely annihilated, and only a stupid rule of elbow throwing prevented John from winning that fight. But that would have been a TKO immediately. I mean, Matt was out of it. He was so beaten he couldn't say anything, and yeah, it was brutal to watch. It was a perfect depiction of John Jones being just a lethal guy with pointy elbows, with long limbs, and just that's exactly what he can do to you with those limbs. So John is undefeated. Only the rules have defeated him, and USADA maybe also defeated him. He's got some issues, who's perfect in this world, but man, I'm a huge fan of him. I started watching this sport exactly at that time when John fought Ryan Bader. And at that time, I knew Bader just a little bit, so I was rooting for him. But then I saw this monster out of nowhere, and he just, submitted Bader so quickly. I was in awe of his performance. And then he fights Shogun, takes the title, and yeah, it's been nothing but smooth sailing career wise. Not so much in his well, it wasn't smooth sailing because his outside of octagon world has been fucked up and scandalous and all sorts of bad. So, yeah, he is what it is, but he is what he is. But I mean, the guy is still a if not unanimously, I mean, for the majority, he's still recognized as the greatest. People can talk about PEDs and all that. Yeah, there's been some shit. There's been some problems there too, and there's definitely some controversy. But again, the guy has done incredible things. He's finished incredible fighters, and he's still a draw. I'm still interested watching John. Even though his outside of the octagon stories are really getting old. But whenever he shows up for the fight, it's still amazing to see him. It's actually amazing just to see him talk, and elaborate about his opponents and what he's going to do to them and what are they going to do to him. He's a very cerebral, incredible fighter. For some reason he's so stupid outside of the sport, but he's an incredible human being when he's out there, talking fights. You can see that he's operating on a different level compared to the other fighters. And that's what you want to see, and that's what you pay to see in John Jones. So I hope that they can clear the air. If he's vacating the belt because he wants to go to the heavyweight division, that would be one thing. I would be super excited about those news. But if he's vacating the belt or planning to vacate it, I don't know, and just because he wants to bargain his way into a bigger contract, I don't want to see that. I hope that UFC will recognize him as the star and budge. But knowing Dana White, that's not how he built the sport. That's not how he built this brand, and I don't think that's going to be the case. If Lorenzo Fertitta, Fertitta brothers, if they would still be around, maybe they can talk some sense. I remember that John, when he had the trouble with that pregnant lady that he hit with a car, he was in some deep shit, and obviously UFC went to meet him. He had an interview with Ariel Helwani, and he recognized uh, Lorenzo Fertitta as the guy, the voice of reason, being actually concerned about him, and he was the guy who actually tipped the scales to salvage everything and solve it all. He did not say the same thing about Dana. He felt like Dana is not considerate of him. He doesn't give a shit about that. So yeah, it's gonna be tough now to squash it. But that would be such a shame. I mean, that's just another bump in the road of perfect career of John Jones. I mean, it's supposed to be a perfect career, but there's all these. For some reason, it's always getting sidetracked. And now we really want to see him fighting, heavyweights, Francis Ngannou. I don't care. DC at heavyweight, I'm super interested in that fight because we all know that DC is a different fighter at heavyweight division. Stipe, sure, sign me up. But Ngannou, that's specifically tasty. And, if we are not going to get to see him and if we're not going to get to see John at all, that just sucks. That just sucks. It really sucked when the Diaz brothers started pulling this shit. But, we're talking about greatest of all time. So this would be so much worse. I would hate that, especially when he fought DC, he was so happy that he's in his prime, going into a new phase of his career. And, he gets himself with PED trouble. He gets himself with some other trouble. I cannot even recollect everything that's went wrong with this guy, but his career was sidetracked a lot. And then it's also affecting his performance now, it seems. I don't know. Maybe it doesn't. But something ain't right. John is not actually John Jones that we used to see. So, yeah, that would be a shame if this ended this way, And John has nowhere to go. I mean, where is he going to go? Bellator? Man, that would be stupid. That would be stupid. I don't know. Maybe you could make something. I don't even want to think about that, guys. So yeah, John Jones is in the news, but apparently there's nothing new about him. I guess they're just dancing now with Dana to see who's gonna budge. But I don't believe he's gonna vacate the belt. Not this way though. Although eventually he should, but only for a reason to fight Francis. So yeah, hopefully something can be worked out and we get to see that fight. Although right now it's not the perfect place and time for a fight itself, it is perfect, but just for additional payday to get money for a super fight setup, yeah, that's not going to happen at the time of the crisis. Okay, enough about this. Let's talk about some upcoming fights. The last the last part of the podcast. So yeah, we got a confirmation now that I wanted to do this for so long, but I never got to for some reason. But yeah, let's talk about the fights that's been announced. First of all, Rose Namajunas. I'm so glad that she's back in the game, and apparently it's been confirmed that she will fight Jessica Andrade, a rematch. So weird, both gals are without a belt now, and a year ago when they fought, Rose was the champion, and Andrade took the belt from her. So yeah, that's a rematch from that fight. Oh, sorry. And this most likely will happen on July 11th. So they're targeting for UFC 251. Great time. International Fight Week, it seems. July 11th. I think that should be that date. And yeah, I have high hopes for Namajunas, although I'm not sure where her head is at. She lost. I mean, this fight was originally booked for UFC 249, but Namajunas had to withdraw out of that fight because she lost not one but two people due to coronavirus. So devastating for a fellow Lithuanian, well, American from Lithuanian descent, I guess. And I don't know how she's gonna react to that. She's been actually talking about the fact that she doesn't really want to fight that long anyway. So I don't know. Is she coming back out of anger, out of fighting with depression, just trying to run away from things? I don't know, but I am a little worried. Whenever I'm hearing some things about fighters even beforehand. And I think Pat Barry has also been fighting some depression issues. You know, he's been dealing with I think he's been dealing with CTE. Pat Barry, her fiance or husband, not even sure. You know, her partner. Anyway, hell of a fighter at his day, at his heyday, but also been knocked out a ton of times. And I think he's dealing with some shit too. You know, mental wise. So it seems like they're just a little bit dysfunctional family. You know, I say that with all due respect. I love both of them, especially Rose. You know, I really care for her, but I don't know how she's going to look against Andrade. And that worries me because Andrade is a beast. And also, it would be such a shame because Rose looked so great against Andrade in that first fight. It was such a shame that she lost by, you know, a body slam. She got slammed to the floor by Jessica, and Jessica, she's just a little bulldog, you know. She's got all the force in the world to generate knockout ability just doing that. And that's exactly what happened. Rose got knocked out, but till that point, she had a perfect fight. She beat the shit out of her out of Andrade standing, and once she took her down, I think when the fight hit the floor, I don't remember exactly what happened now, but Rose was just handling her, you know, and she was about to finish her. I think she had her in a triangle position, and Andrade did the Rampage Jackson versus Ricardo Horona body slam type of thing, and yeah, it was over for Rose. So that was a shame. You know, she lost the belt then, and then Raj then lost the belt. Damn it, who's the champ now? Who's the champ at the women's strawweight division? Wow, I gotta look that up now. Oh Jesus, that's right, Zhang Wei Li. Oh, wow. Well, she's been out of picture too. Although she had that amazing fight against Joanna and Jacek. Okay. Now I remember. Sorry about that. So yeah, it's weird. I mean, both girls are not the champs anymore. They're not even that title picture. But of course, the winner out of this will come out as the top title contender, especially if Rose wins because she's never fought Wiley. Wow, that would be such a great fight. So this is a great fight as well. July 11th. All the Lithuanian fans in the world circle that date around because this might be the comeback of Thug Rose, which is unbelievable. I'm happy. Happy, happy. So another fight that's been announced. I think, well, at least it's in the works. But Dana White spoke on this, and he never speaks on unclear things. Well, sometimes he does, but usually it's a done deal once he's speaking out to the public. Uh, they're booking a fight with Jose Aldo and Piotr Jan for a vacant bantamweight title. It's amazing news. Obviously Henry Cejudo, after beating Dominic Cruz, he decided to retire, and the belt is vacant out there. So Jose Aldo will square up against Piotr Jan. So that's the part of the news I mentioned to you guys before when we spoke about Aljamain Sterling and Corey Sandhagen. So this is the piece. That is the reason why neither Sandhagen nor Aljamain are fighting for the belt. They're fighting for a top contender spot because these guys, Aldo and Jan, are fighting for the belt. So yeah, it's a pretty interesting fight. I don't know what to think of it. I really want to support Aldo, but I really don't like the way he looks at the bantamweight division. He looked pretty good against Moraes. I must say that, but he actually lost that fight. That's what's so crazy. I mean, he lost the fight to Moraes. That was his debut in this weight class, and yet he still gets a shot at the title. That's what it does for you when you have been defending the belt for 10 years. But yeah, that was crazy. That was definitely crazy, and I think Aldo should have won that fight. To be honest with you guys. But yeah, for some reason, Moraes does not get the nod here. I don't really know why. He only lost to Cejudo, and I guess the way he looked really bad in that fight against Cejudo. He looked amazing in the first round, but then he could not handle Cejudo at all, and Cejudo just finished him off in the third round. And I guess the same thing can be said about the Aldo fight. He looked amazing in the first round. He looked like better better version of Jose. But then Jose just went to be technical, went to his old school game, pretty much the way he defended all the titles back in the featherweight division. And Moraes was just gassing out. Moraes was really fading away, and that's why I think everybody, the commentators, the media, everybody thought that Jose won that fight against Moraes. So yeah, not officially. Officially, Moraes was the winner. Aldo was the loser. But you can see what the UFC thinks about that. UFC is actually giving it to Aldo for a reason, and Aldo would be facing a. Oh my God, Piotr Jan is a scary dude. He's a scary, savvy motherfucker, and I'm very interested to see him fight. Very interested to see him fight. I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen in this fight. I think that Aldo is capable of holding his own. I mean, he's been the champ. He's been one of the greatest, arguably the greatest of all time. At one point, people did talk about him that way, and he's still young. He's only 33. That's so crazy. You think Eddie Wineland has been there for so long at age of 35. Aldo's 33, and he was defending his belt for 10 years before he fought Conor and lost to him. And even that was like, what, 5 years ago or something? Incredible. Incredible champion, incredible fighter, incredible winner. And, he's fighting just another Russian version of him who's younger and I guess more hungry for that belt, for that strap. So yeah, this is awesome. If this actually will take place, it doesn't have any disclosed venue. It doesn't have even a certain date set for it. But this is a very intriguing fight. Jan is actually 27, so yeah, he's younger than Aldo, sure, but to Aldo's standards, Jan already should have been a champion and should have defended his belt for like 5 times already. But if he's gonna get that belt, I'm sure he's gonna have success with it. I'm sure at some point he's gonna get that belt anyway. So yeah, maybe this will be the time against Aldo. I mean, Aldo, even though he is young, he's got a lot of mileage. So who knows what else is there left in his gas tank. So anyway, folks, this is what's up with MMA world, UFC most particularly. So what can I tell you? This is pretty awesome. I mean, I'm happy to be back in several days of time, and I'm happy you actually being back with me, listening and commenting and all that. So really great stuff. I really appreciate you guys being there and supporting the show. I think after we watch and enjoy the fights, we're gonna do the recap. Obviously, that's what should follow after a certain point. So yeah, as we always do, we're gonna do a recap, maybe Monday morning, maybe Tuesday, but it's gonna come to you again. I'm not gonna be out for a while. We will try to keep this as consistent as possible and meet on a regular basis. So at this time, really thank you so much for listening. Check out the pay-per-view. I know it's not going to blow your hair back, but it's definitely worth watching and seeing high-quality MMA. That should be present in this fight card. And yeah, hopefully you do enjoy the weekend. Hopefully you do enjoy the fights. And for now, thank you for your attention, and I'll see you the next time.